Hi everyone, I'm Mohammad Umar Hazmi and I'm 19 years old. I'm currently following my foundation program at American Education Center. My study title refers to the impact of the coronavirus. The reason why I picked this term is because 3 years ago there emerged a new type of virus in Wuhan, a city of China. And then I wanted to know briefly about the origin of this virus and the impacts of it. It resulted in many ways. So I conducted a research study on 3 objectives. The first objective is why was it not controlled and identified at the beginning? And the second one is comparing how Sri Lanka versus how the other countries reacted to it. And the third one is whether there is another possibility of another variant to emerge. When it comes to the first objective, I discovered a large number of study articles under my initial target, people who had hypertension, diabetes, or the coronary artery diseases, or the several kidney organ failure. Patients had to be very careful when they were more to be likely affected too. The other one is air pollution plays a major role on this COVID-19 transmission. Despite making tremendous efforts and analyzing the data swiftly owing the worldwide emergency, the original study authors occasionally overlooked important elements such as control policy, urbanization rate, lifestyle, and weather patterns. And then, when it comes to the second objective, Sri Lanka initially reported a case in Chinese visitor on January 27, 2020. In order to contain the pandemic, the government implemented a stringent strategy that included case detention, contact identification, quarantine, travel restrictions, and isolation of small villages. By enforcing this strict strategy and promptly changing it, the government was able to minimize the epidemic to 2,810 cases of July 2020. Although various prevention efforts such as disinfectant spraying had received considerable attention, the main prevention tactics used in Sri Lanka focused on reducing human movements. It is significant that despite others having long practiced limiting mobility to manage infectious disease, this tactic was not employed in the nation even though throughout the dengue epidemics. However, strong procedures were implemented to reduce human mobility once the coronavirus outbreak emerged. A statewide curfew established on March 20 and continued through March 24, along with a tight prohibition on inter-district travel. When it comes to the third objective, in Gauteng province, South Africa, the SARS coronavirus 2 Omicron variant was first discovered on November 25th on 2021. Omicron was classified as a variant of concern by the WHO due to its projected high transmissibility and propensity to circumvent protection from neutralizing antibodies brought on by vaccination or naturally occurring infection with wild-type virus. According to WHO experts, the next COVID-19 variety to garner global attention will be more infectious than Omicron, but the main issue researchers need to answer is whether or not it will be more deadly. According to Maria Van Kerk, who's WHO's COVID-19 technical director, over 21 million cases were reported to the organization during the last week, setting a new record for weekly instances of the quickly spreading Omicron strain. Although Omicron seems to be a less severe strain of the virus than the previous one, the sheer number of cases is overwhelming medical systems throughout the world. Van Kerk predicted that the following form of the problem will be more fit, and what it meant to be that it will be more transmissible since it will have a surpass which is already circulating. The key question is whether or not the severity of the future variation will increase or decrease. She issued a warning against the believing prediction that the world will keep evolving into softer forms that are less harmful than earlier iteration. I conducted my own research using a Google form to observe how people responded to it, whether it corresponds with my aims and my replies. I had received 55 responses to the Google form. Students, optometrists, eye surgeons, teachers and others had responded to it, and the responses which I got was very helpful for my research. And I got all positive responses from the people. And the conclusion. In the first objectives, when the existence of this COVID-19 virus emerged, we had no idea or didn't follow any safety guidelines at the beginning. Because we did not know the seriousness of the disease and we had a lacking of resource, medical equipment, so quarantine centers either way. Likewise, we did not have a brief knowledge on this coronavirus. So it had to spread all over the country. Later, the scientists, doctors and the medical staffs had given the guidelines to be followed. Then the people had enough awareness later regarding the virus and the people had followed it. When it comes to the second objective, Sri Lanka is lacking in these areas as evidence and how other nations has responded and how they responded to it. Moreover, Sri Lanka has not implemented any appropriate preventive measures due to lack of resources and infrastructures. And the third objective conclusion is, due to the fact that the new coronavirus kinds have been emerging up to now, we may conclude from the research that there are even greater odds for another variety to appear. So there will be additional variables to consider in the future. Thank you.